Hi guys, what is going on and welcome to today's YouTube video. In today's video, we are going to discuss the current state of Bitcoin, we are going to discuss the current state of Ethereum, and we will also discuss a potential play that we could be looking at on a specific altcoin this week. So definitely make sure to keep watching today's video if you want to find out about the altcoin, if you want to find out about potential trade setups that could be developing not only on that altcoin, but also on Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's dive straight into it. So we can see, guys, Bitcoin has been going pretty parabolic over the past weeks, but right now, in my opinion, I've been stating this a few days already, I think the time has come to take some profits on your spot positions, to take some profits on your swing long positions. If you have been following me over the past year, you know that I have been nailing almost every single move within this entire uptrend that we started early this year over here. Now, currently, this is the first time where I'm really going to be a little bit cautious because we are running into the drop off over here that led to this first impulse to the downside, followed by another impulse to the downside. And we can also see, for example, that the drop off over here that led to this impulse to the downside also was proven to be major resistance for the Bitcoin price, not only once, but twice. So currently we are running into that second drop off, and it's definitely something to keep our eyes on over the upcoming weeks, and this should be a crucial area of resistance for the Bitcoin price. So there's something I've been teaching you guys over the past year since I started making these videos, and one of my main rules is to never be bullish against resistance and to never be bearish near support. And this is resistance until proven otherwise. Now we have to realize that the trend is strongly to the upside. And as long as a trend is up, you don't want to trade against a trend. It's one of my other major rules. And currently we can see that on every single time frame, the trend is still up. We haven't seen a shift in trend anywhere. Now, currently, what I'm waiting for to position myself on a swing short for Bitcoin is to get a preferred hour 4 shift in structure over here. Now, why am I marking out this low and not, for example, this low? Because this is the low that we formed after we formed this fresh high compared to this high. So this is the higher low that has brought us to this new high. Now you always want to break the low that brings you to a new high in order to shift structure. So this is the crucial low on the 4-hourly time frame that we need to break. Now, if we start breaking through that low, that means that we are shifting structure to the downside. And that means that we could start getting triggers for swing shorts on Bitcoin and potentially also on altcoins. Now, this is my main scenario for the Bitcoin price. There's 2 more scenarios that could potentially position ourselves short. On the 1-hourly time frame, we can see that we have a little bit of a different low that we need to break in order to shift structure. It's this low over here. Now, once again, why not this low, Guru? Because this low over here has not brought us to a new high yet, right? It has only been bringing us to a lower high over here. Now, if we start breaking through the previous high over here, then this is the crucial low to keep our eyes on in order to shift structure to the downside. But you have to realize the trend is strongly to the upside. So I prefer to wait for hour 4 time frame confirmation instead of hour 1, because the higher the time frame you get your confirmation on, the higher the probability of your trade setup is. And that is something that people sometimes forget. So decide for yourself whether you want to look for hour 1 confirmation, whether you want to look for hour 4 confirmation. Another scenario that could potentially position us short is if we start seeing some more signs of distribution over here. We have a lot of liquidity resting beneath this low, above this high, I mean. Why is that? Because a lot of people FOMO'd into shorts on this impulse to the downside, or after this impulse to the downside, they saw this pullback and they're now building shorts. Where do you think they're going to put their stops? They're obviously going to put their stops above this high. Otherwise, they're going to put their stops above 40K. Now, if you start shorting over here, for example, with your stop loss above 40K, that's a 10% stop loss. To get a decent RR of 2, you need a 20% move to the downside. Now, that is not something that a lot of people will be looking at. So I think a lot of people have their stops above this high over here. I think there's a lot of liquidity being engineered to the upside. Now we start seeing some more signs of distribution. I mean, for example, see some wicks being created to the upside, right? Wicks are indicating absorption of buy pressure, absorbing of long pressure. If we see some more sideways movement with some more bearish sweeps, followed by fake break of structures, by maybe another bearish sweep, then followed by a clear shifter structure, that's your short trigger. Every small pullback should be for shorting, because I think if price is truly bearish after a bearish shift in structure, I don't think that smart money will offer the opportunity for everyone to get in on a strong pullback. I think pullbacks in that case, if price is truly bearish, will be very minimal before some more downside. And that is something to keep our eyes on. And that's currently my game plan for Bitcoin. Now, in confluence with that shifted structure, you, for example, also want to lose the EMAs on the 1 hourly time frame. You can see that during this entire uptrend, the EMAs have been acting as beautiful support. Once we reclaim them over here, the parabolic uptrend started. Now, let's say they come a little closer over here, and we get some bearish sweeps. Like I said, another bearish sweep. We shift structure. In that case, we also break through the EMAs. Those EMAs will be acting as resistance over here, right? And that is definitely some nice confluence for some continuation to the downside. So I hope this makes everything clear for Bitcoin. Now let's continue with our dear Ethereum, because Ethereum is looking quite interesting as well. Ethereum is in between two thoughts at the moment, in my opinion, because on the one hand, we are testing this supply area over here, right? This is daily supply. It's a valid supply area. I've been explaining multiple times how you can identify high probability order block. Now, it is testing the supply area as resistance, but on the other hand, we are trying to flip this range high level, this high time frame range high level, this crucial range high level. We are trying to flip it into support. And you can beautifully see how we are trying to flip the range high, but how we are also finding resistance over here. Now, there's two different things that can happen over here. I'm a little bit cautious because I think that a lot of people are trying to look at this range high flip area, and once we start breaking above this supply, people will get extremely bullish and expect higher prices. Now, that is possible, but you have to realize that once we start breaking above this supply, we have a little bit more of liquidity left above this high. I think there's definitely some liquidity resting above that high. Now, if we start breaking above this supply, we have a lot of stop losses resting above the supply of the people that are currently shorting the test of the supply area. And like I said, we have some liquidity above this high over here. So all in all, we have a nice little liquidity pool over here for Ethereum. And I think that if we start breaking above this supply, a lot of people will get extremely bullish on Ethereum. A lot of people will be expecting a huge breakout to the upside. Now, and that is where we have to be a little bit cautious, guys, because above this liquidity pool, we also have this bearish order block over here, which is the first thing to keep an eye on. And like I said, besides the liquidity pool, a lot of people get extremely bullish and will start breakout longing and breakout buying Ethereum. Now that is where I'm going to be a little bit cautious, because in case we do get a breakout above the supply area over here, we tap into that liquidity pool. If we then start seeing signs of bearish market structure and bearish breakdowns and a bearish reclaim beneath the supply and maybe even back inside of the range, this is where you get your short trigger. You short Ethereum with your stop above the previous supply high over here, right? And you target, first of all, the liquidity around the quarterly level. Second of all, the liquidity around the mid level. Third of all, you will target this liquidity over here above the range low around $1,000. Now, this seems like an ambitious target, and a lot of people will probably call me crazy, but people have also been calling me crazy when I opened a swing long over here and when I opened a swing long over here. So, to be very honest, I don't even care. I'm just going to trade this range until it breaks. I'm going to try and trade what the chart is trying to tell me, in my opinion. And in my opinion, it is telling me that yes, we can see more upside, but I am going to be cautious until we break through the resistance with a confirmed break. And the markets are a little overheated to the upside. And I do think that you have to be a little careful over here. I do think that you want to take some profits on your spot positions, you want to take some profits on your swing longs, and you want to wait for bearish confirmation before you start entering swing shorts and sell positions. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that altcoins won't keep running higher during the upcoming days or weeks, because this distribution phase for Ethereum and Bitcoin, you have to realize that can take a while. It can take a few more days. It can even take a few more weeks of sideways movement. Now, if Bitcoin starts moving sideways and Ethereum starts pushing up a little bit, which is definitely possible the upcoming weeks, that means that altcoins could start running much higher. Now, Woo, in my opinion, is one of the most interesting altcoins out there right now, because Woo is potentially breaking out above this range high. We can see that Woo has been trading inside of an extremely clear range. I'm going to switch on the 12-hourly time frame. We can see beautiful deviation above the range high over here after we form the range high with this step, and the range low with these two taps. We have a beautiful and clean range. After deviation of the range high, we reclaim back inside of the range, right? Resistance at the quarterly level. We retest the range high perfectly and we drop all the way towards the untapped liquidity pool beneath this range low over here. That would have been a beautiful range trade already. Now afterwards, we reclaim the range low. Once again, the resistance at the quarterly level numerous times. We retest the range low, find support, and we push it towards the mid-range. We gain the mid-range, we push it towards the range high liquidity again. Now, since we have taken the range high liquidity once and the range low liquidity once, if we hold above the range high, this accumulation range can start expanding a lot higher if we hold the breakout to the upside. And these highs over here can be my target on Woo, and that's still quite far away. But you have to realize these sideways accumulation ranges that are taking months and months to form, once they start breaking out, those breakouts can be very explosive. Now, if we move our asses to the lower time frame, we can see that we broke back above the range high. You can see how the range high was trying to hold a support over here. We saw a huge liquidation move over here. That is something to be careful on, because we know, if we check the daily time frame right now, that on the daily we have a huge wick to the downside, and we know that these wicks act as draws on liquidity, so sooner or later it will get filled, but I'm hoping that it might get filled a little later on. If Woo starts retesting the range high again, and if it starts holding the range high, maybe with a little deviation and a reclaim, you can target higher levels on Woo. Okay, definitely one of my favorite altcoins for this week. Also, all EMAs are acting still as support on the 1 hourly time frame, 2 hourly time frame. They're all aligning with the previous range high area. Also on the 4 hourly, the 100 EMA is slowly approaching. Definitely an altcoin to keep our eyes on for the upcoming weeks. A move towards these liquidity pools over here is still 20 to 30% away, which is a decent kind of move. Definitely an interesting looking altcoin. Definitely an altcoin to keep our eyes on over the upcoming week. As long as the range high holds, I'm expecting higher target. Like I said, it can see a little bit of a deviation back inside of the range, followed by a reclaim. That could be a long trigger targeting higher levels. Now, if you guys do have any questions after watching today's video, let me know in the comments down below. Also, make sure to sign up to Prime XPT, which is the sponsor of today's YouTube video. And I will see you guys on Wednesday's video again. Ciao, ciao.